Zoo Tour.
Congratulations! Your job application for trainee at Kalamazoo City Zoo has been approved. Before you start your daily grind in this demanding but rewarding job, the administration would like you to take 6 photographs of the zoo's fabulous animals for a marketing brochure. But be quick. Printing takes time, and management cannot delay the brochure's production. Tour the zoo, identify the animals, and make sure the photos look fantastic. Welcome to the world of Zoo Empire. As this is your first assignment, we will slowly bring you up to speed and help familiarize you with the basic aspects of running your very own zoo. You can move the tutorial window anywhere on the screen by holding down the left mouse button on the box and dragging it around. Go ahead and give it a try, and then left-click on the Next button to proceed. You can also minimize the tutorial window by left-clicking on the Minimize button located on the upper right-hand corner of the tutorial window. Go ahead and give it a try, and then left-click on the Next button to proceed. It seems nothing is moving in your zoo. If the game is paused, then everything in your zoo will freeze in its current position until you left-click on the Resume Game button. Left-clicking the same button again will pause the game. To the right of the Pause Game, Resume Game toggle button are 4 speed bars. Clicking on these will accelerate the game speed. If you want the game to move at a faster pace, left-click on these bars to increase the game's pace. The more bars you have highlighted, the faster the game's time will run. Left-click on the Resume Game button to continue. Good. Let's start your zoo training with an introduction to the camera controls and see how you can move about the zoo. To scroll about the screen, move the cursor to the screen edges. Give it a try. You can also rotate the camera by holding the right mouse button and moving the mouse left or right. Try it out. To change the camera's perspective, hold the right mouse button and move the mouse up or down. Give it a try. Good. You can also zoom in or out by keeping both the Alt key and the right mouse button depressed while moving the mouse up or down. If you have a mouse with a mouse wheel, you can do the same by spinning the mouse wheel up or down. Try. Very good. Now you have a solid understanding of how the camera works, and you can get to any location within the zoo. Let's move on, shall we? Notice the upper and lower toolbars on the screen. Mouse over each indicator and button for a second or so, and a context-sensitive help message will tell you about its function. Go ahead and familiarize yourself with these toolbars, and when you're ready, left-click on the Next button to continue. All right then. Before we move on, let's review your scenario assignments by left-clicking on the Information Center button, followed by a left-click on the Goals button. Here you can see all the goals you need to meet before moving on to the next scenario. Main goals are essential to passing to the next scenario. Hold the left mouse button and drag the scroll bar to scroll down the list and review all your goals. When you are done reviewing your goals, left-click on the Next button to continue. As you can see, you need to take 6 photographs of your beloved animals. Therefore, let's see how to take photographs. First, close the Information Center interface by left-clicking on the Close button. The Close button can be found on the top right corner of all the interfaces. Whenever you left-click on the Photo button, a photograph will be taken and sent to your photo album. Go ahead and take 2 photos. Any 2 photos will do. Once you've taken the photos, left-click on the Photo Album button. If you do not transfer the photos you have taken to your collection, the photos will be deleted once you move on to another scenario, or if you quit the game. Let's save these 2 photos you've taken by left-clicking on the Copy to Collection button for each photo you've taken. Very good. If you have some really great photos in your collection that you'd like to share with your friends, first make sure that the photos are transferred to your collection. Then, left-click on the Collection button. You can then left-click on the Generate Web Page button, and a web page will be created for you to post online for all your friends to see. To view a photo, simply double left-click on a thumbnail, and the photo will be enlarged. To return to the thumbnail view, you can either double left-click on the enlarged image, or left-click on the Thumbnail Photo Toggle button. You can also capture movies to share with your friends, very much in the same way you would take a photo. Go on, play around with the photo album for a bit. And when you are ready to move on, left-click on the Mini-Map button to continue. The Minimap is a great way to navigate around your zoo. You can left-click anywhere on the Minimap, and the camera will go directly there. To the left of the Minimap are 5 buttons. Starting from the top, we have the Default Map View, followed by the Exhibit Map View, Visitor Item Map View, Animal Item Map View, and finally, the Water Map View. Left-clicking on any of these buttons will filter out all other items on the map. The plus and minus buttons on the bottom allow you to zoom in or zoom out of the minimap. Play around with the minimap until you get the hang of it. Then left-click on the next button to continue. Another interface that will come in handy is the Option menu, where you can adjust game settings, save your current game, load a previously saved game, quit to the main menu and start a new game, or quit to Windows, among others, which we will look into in upcoming tutorials. I'm sure you're eager to get your feet wet in your photo shooting assignment. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Let's recap what we've learned here before unleashing you in the zoo. You can change the game speed as well as pause and resume the game anytime. Move the cursor to the edges to scroll about the zoo. Right-click and hold the button down and move the mouse left and right to rotate. Right-click and hold the button down and move the mouse up and down to change the camera's perspective. Hold the Alt key down and keep the right mouse button down while moving the mouse up and down to zoom in and out. When in doubt, mouse over any indicator, display, or button, and you will get context-sensitive help. Use the minimap to quickly go from one part of your zoo to another. Take photos using the Photo button and organize your photo collection with the Photo album. Remember to refer to your goals in the Information Center to review all your past and pending goals. Good luck! See you in your next assignment.
Zoo completion.
You have inherited the Gainsworth Arms Zoo, a nature park outside the town of Wichita Plains. The zoo has an entrance and 2 partially completed exhibits, a fenced exhibit and a terrain exhibit. You have to complete a small zoo with separate exhibits for African elephants, giraffes, and red kangaroos, hire staff, and purchase animal enrichment items. Let's take a look at creating exhibits. There are 2 types of exhibits, fenced and terrain. Let's first take a look at fenced exhibits. In order to complete a fenced exhibit, you must completely surround the exhibit with fencing. First, left-click on the Animal Enrichment menu button, then left-click on the Fencing button. Now, left-click on the Stick Pole Fence thumbnail. Move the cursor to the nearly completed exhibit and left-click and drag on the terrain between the 2 end pillars of the fence you need to enclose, which is marked with blue lines. For the purposes of this tutorial, you can only add fences within this area. The cursor will change accordingly once you move the cursor over a completed exhibit. Good. You now have a proper exhibit. The only thing missing is an entrance. Without an entrance, your employees cannot enter the exhibit to tend to your animal's needs. Left-click on the Add Exhibit Entrance button and left-click somewhere along the exhibit fencing. The only thing this exhibit is lacking are some animals to liven it up. Left-click on the Adopt Animal menu button and find a giraffe, and double left-click on the thumbnail. You can then place the giraffe in its new exhibit. Add 1 male and 2 female giraffes. To return to the Choose Animal menu, right-click anywhere on the terrain. To change the gender of the animal, left-click on the Adopt Male and Adopt Female buttons located to the top left of the Choose Animal menu. Good. You now know how to create fenced exhibits. Creating terrain exhibits is a bit more tricky, as this involves using the terrain editor. So left-click on that button now. The terrain editor is a powerful tool that allows you to sculpt the terrain to your liking. When you see the terrain editor, left-click on the Toggle Grid button, then the Large Animal Constraints toggle button. You will notice that part of the terrain is blacked out. This means that animals cannot pass the steep inclines of the terrain. Blacked out grid markers are the terrain equivalent to fences. In order to create an exhibit with the terrain editor, you have to make sure that the entire terrain is surrounded by the black grid marks. Let's sculpt the terrain accordingly. First, left-click on the Change Terrain Height and Texture button. Then select a texture to continue. Now, left-click on the terrain to raise it to roughly the same level as the blacked-out terrain, and release the mouse button. Note that you can only edit the terrain highlighted in blue, again for the purposes of this tutorial. You should see that the terrain has been blacked out. If not, then just raise it a bit more. Keep raising the terrain until there is a completely blacked out ring going around the terrain. When you are ready for the next step, left-click on the Next button to continue. Very good! You now know how to create terrain exhibits. However, we still need to add in an entrance for your staff to access the exhibit. In order to do so, you will need to add an exhibit entrance. To continue, place an exhibit entrance along the terrain highlighted in blue. Your staff can only walk on relatively flat terrain, and as such, despite having an entrance, they may not be able to enter the exhibit due to the steepness of the terrain. To find out, open the Terrain Editor, left-click on the Grid button, then the Staff Constraints Grid button. It will show you whether your staff can walk through the entrance and into the exhibit. The 3 grid constraint buttons can be turned on simultaneously. So, you might want to turn off other grid constraint buttons to see only the staff constraints. When you have examined the terrain around the entrance, left-click on the Next button to continue. Seems that your staff cannot walk past the entrance after all. Let's smooth the terrain a bit for them. Left-click on the Smooth Terrain button and left-click on the terrain highlighted in blue around the entrance. Smoothing the terrain will allow your staff access to the exhibit. And with the entrance there, your animals will still be safe. Creating exhibits can be time-consuming, so we have a nifty little feature that allows you to save and load your best exhibits. To save an exhibit, simply left-click on the Options button, then on the Save Exhibit button. You will see the Save Exhibit menu. Double left-click on the Save New bar, then left-click on the exhibit you want to save. Finally, give your exhibit a name and left-click on the OK button, and your exhibit is saved. To load an exhibit, left-click on the Options button, then on the Load Exhibit button. When you see the Load Exhibit menu, double left-click on the exhibit you want to load, then left-click to place the exhibit in your zoo. Save your new terrain exhibit to continue. Very good! You now know how to create terrain exhibits. This is now a fully functioning exhibit, allowing staff in and keeping animals from escaping. Let's add a female and male elephant to this exhibit. As we've been toying with the Terrain Editor, let's see what else it can do. One of the most useful features is raising and lowering terrain. Not all animals like to live on flat terrain, preferring hilly or mountainous features akin to their natural habitat. First, left-click on the Terrain Editor button, then on the Change Terrain Height and Texture button, then on the Change Height Only thumbnail. Finally, move the cursor somewhere near the empty patch of land marked with blue lines, and left-click to raise the terrain. You can create hills and mountains this way. The difference between hills and mountains is a subtle one. The higher the value set with the smoothing slider, the more smooth hills you will generate. Conversely, the lower the value set with the smoothing slider, the more jagged or mountainous the terrain will become. Left-click on the Next button to continue. You can also lower terrain. When you lower the terrain below the default height, water will start to appear. This is the same water that your beloved beasts will drink out of to quench their thirst. And virtually all animals require access to water. Let's create a body of water now by shift left-clicking on the terrain until you see some water. You can also click the middle mouse button or the mouse wheel if your mouse has these buttons. Left-click on the next button to continue. That's about it for now. Let's summarize what you've learned in this tutorial. You need to completely fence off an area to create an exhibit. Terrain exhibits require altering the terrain so that animals cannot escape. Remember to turn on the Animal Constraints grid to see whether animals can be confined within the terrain. Both types of exhibits need a gate for zookeepers and other staff to enter and tend to the needs of your animals. Add new animals to your zoo through the Adopt Animals menu. And remember to review your goals, and good luck on your assignment.
Good help is hard to find these days.
The city of Savannah Plains has been struggling for some time to attract visitors from its tourism-based economy to visit their zoo. And no wonder. The city zoo is woefully lacking in animal variety, due in no small part to the zoo's appalling shortage of qualified personnel to look after the poor animals. As the new manager of the Greater Savannah Zoo, it is your duty to not only increase the number of unique animal species, but also to hire the requisite number of staff and managers to care for your animals, your visitors, and your zoo as a whole. You know how to create both fenced and terrain exhibits, as well as adopt animals. However, your animals need to be cared for, so the next step is to hire the necessary staff to ensure your animal's well-being. Left-click on the Hire Staff menu button, then double left-click on one of the zookeeper candidates, and left-click somewhere in the zoo so that your new zookeeper can commence his duties. A well-run zoo needs all sorts of specialized staff in order for your zoo to run smoothly. Zookeepers are charged with your animal's well-being, feeding them when they are hungry, and cleaning up after your animal's nature calls. Maintenance workers inspect the zoo grounds and repair any defective or worn-out items, such as machinery and fencing. Groundskeepers clean up the trash cans and restrooms in order to keep your zoo operating as cleanly as possible. Tour guides will introduce your visitors to the animals and will make their experience a more fulfilling one. You will need at least one of each staff member in your zoo. So go ahead and hire a maintenance worker, a tour guide, and a groundskeeper. You may have to scroll down the list to view all the job positions available for hire. Your staff is only human, and their performance is affected by their salary, morale, training, and efficiency. The higher the salary, the better the morale. The more training, the more efficiently they will work. Good salaries and training will usually produce better results from your staff. However, despite your best efforts, some staff simply will not perform to your expectations. In this case, the only thing left to do is to fire them. You can adjust your staff salary as well as fire them through the Staff Details menu. You can also fire staff through the Hire Staff menu. Left-click on the Next button to continue. If you want to view your staff details, or if you'd like a listing of all your staff, you can left-click on the Staff menu button. From here, you can adjust your staff's salaries or fire them. You can also get an at-a-glance view of each staff member and their relative performance by gauging the attribute bars to the right of each staff member's name. The Staff menu will automatically show you a list of all your staff members. To view their details, left-click on their names. Try it now. To go back to the list mode, left-click on the Staff List button, located near the top right corner of the menu. When you are ready to move on, left-click on the Next button to continue. Management also plays a vital role in your zoo. They are the ones who can conduct research for better zoo facilities, introduce new animals into your zoo, and train your staff. Managers will automatically do this without any intervention on your part. The zoo curator can research new animal species. The veterinarian can research cures for zoological diseases. The visitor services manager can research new items and services to keep your visitors happy. The education director can research new programs to promote visitor awareness for animals. The facilities manager can research new fencing to keep strong and dangerous animals safely away from your visitors. Your managers are also able to train your staff so that they perform better in their duties. Of course, they command higher salaries, but the good news is that you only need one of each type of manager in your zoo, although you can hire more than one person to cover the staff position. So go ahead and hire them all now. Very good. Of course, being the managerial types, the specialists you just hired need a place to work. Left-click on the Visitor Attraction menu button, then on the Large Structures button, and left-click on the Staff Office thumbnail, and place it somewhere in your zoo. If you want to rotate an item, press down the mouse button and move the cursor toward a direction to change the direction the item is facing. Once you have the staff office in place, you are ready to conduct research. Great! Now let's take a look at research. Left-click on the Information Center button, then on the Research button. You will see the Conduct a New Research Project button for your zoo to develop. Left-click on it now. You will see a list of available research for you to conduct. Simply left-click on any research item you want. Then, left-click on the OK button. Repeat these steps if you want to conduct more research. The more money you allot to research, the faster the research can be completed. Adjust the amount of research funding accordingly by left-clicking on the arrow buttons. Soon enough, you will have new items to include in your zoo. Once you are ready to move on, it can be tough having to look after so many zookeepers in your zoo. One way to make sure that all your animals are cared for is to assign your zookeepers to directly assume the care for a specific exhibit. Although zookeepers will still look after all your animals, they will go around each exhibit and check up on your exhibits one by one. And this may not be enough to maintain happiness levels in animals that require extra attention or have special needs. Large exhibits can also benefit from assigned zookeepers. To assign zookeepers to exhibits, first, locate the exhibit marker item under Enhancements in the Animal Enrichment menu. Left-click on it, then place the exhibit marker in one of the exhibits in the zoo to continue. You may want to give the exhibit marker a meaningful name. To do so, double left-click on the exhibit marker, then left-click on the Rename Item button. Give the exhibit marker a suitable name, then left-click on the Confirm Renaming button to continue. Now, left-click on the Staff Menu button. You will see a list of your current staff. Left-click on one of your zookeepers, then left-click on the Staff Details toggle button until you see the Assign to Exhibit details. From here, all you need to do is to left-click on the Assign to Exhibit button, and the zookeeper will solely dedicate his duties to the assigned exhibit. Go ahead and assign your zookeeper to an exhibit marker to continue. Nice job! You now know how to hire and fire staff, as well as conduct research. Before you move on, let's take a brief look at what you've learned. Remember to hire the right staff for all your animal needs. Remember to hire managers to conduct research for new items to add to your zoo. Managers require a staff office, so make sure you add one to your zoo. Managers can train your staff as well as research new items, so put their skills to good use immediately by conducting research via the Information Center menu. Good luck with this assignment.
New owner.
The Brownstone Zoo is an older zoo located in the historic town of Elders Pass. It is a small zoo with only 3 exhibits and minimum staff. The zoo is not exactly a popular attraction, and this has a lot to do with the animals' comfort, which is very low. You've been assigned to operate the zoo and have realized that the animals are very unhappy because their exhibits are uncomfortable and almost bare. As the new owner, You should purchase trees, rocks, shelters, and animal toys to improve your animal's comfort. You now have a solid understanding of creating exhibits, as well as adopting animals, and hiring staff to look after your zoo and your precious animals. But are your animals really happy? Unhappy animals will not only suffer, but may behave in undesirable ways, and worse, your visitors will not enjoy looking at depressed or angry animals, which leads to unhappy visitors who will not return to your zoo. Let's have a look at how to enrich your animals' lives and make them happy. Left-click on the Animal List and Details menu button. Then, left-click on one of the kangaroos from the list. Notice the Animal Details toggle button. This button provides a wealth of information about your red kangaroo. It currently displays information on your red kangaroo, including its current activity, its gender, rarity, strength, and life expectancy, among other self-explanatory information. Training potential indicates your animal's ability to learn tricks and to perform in animal shows. The higher the value, the easier and faster your animal can be trained. Left-click on the Animal Details toggle button to continue. Now we are looking at your red kangaroo's attributes. Of special importance is your animal's happiness, which is determined by its hunger, thirst, health condition, and comfort ratings. Remember to monitor your animal's attributes regularly in order to ensure that these attributes are all kept at healthy levels. If these attributes are left unattended, your animal will eventually die. So make sure that you have enough zookeepers to fulfill all the needs your animals have. Comfort is determined by environmental variables that affect the animal's habitat. And, as we can see, your poor red kangaroo is not exactly living in the lap of luxury. Left-click on the Animal Details toggle button to view your red kangaroo's preferences. Notice how most everything listed here is in red? That means you have not met the animal's ideal requirements. You will have to improve the exhibit so that your red kangaroo can live both happily and comfortably. Let's take a look at some of the animal's preferences and see what each of them mean. Preferred flora are the types of plants, trees, and other vegetation your animal likes. Preferred rocks are the types of rocks normally found in the animal's natural habitat, and therefore preferred by the animal in its exhibit. Preferred animal toys are items designed to enrich the lives of your animals. Placing these items in an exhibit is sure to please your animals, as they will have lots of fun interacting with the toys. Preferred enhancements are items that simulate the animal's natural habitat and help approximate the exhibit to its real-world equivalent. Preferred shelters are the ideal places for your animals to rest or sleep in. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Let's continue along the list. Preferred fencing is not only the type of fence the animal would like to see for its exhibit, but also the ideal type of fencing to prevent the animal from escaping. Terrain composition refers to the amount of each type of terrain the animal would feel most comfortable with. Terrain geometry refers to the terrain features found in the animal's natural habitat and what the animal expects to find in its exhibit. There are three types of terrain geometry: flat, hilly, and mountainous, and these are represented by their respective icons. Water ratio refers to the percentage of water that the animal would like to have in its exhibit. Privacy needs indicates if the animal does not mind the presence of visitors, would prefer to be seen by relatively few visitors, or absolutely cannot stand the presence of any visitors. These 3 degrees of privacy are indicated by their respective icons. free space required lets you know whether the animal needs just a small exhibit, needs a medium-sized exhibit, or requires a large exhibit in order to live happily. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Let's take a look at the last headings under the Animal Preferences list. Social structure is the animal's natural preference for sharing their exhibit with others of the same species. Some animals flourish in large groups. Others don't mind sharing their space with a few other animals of the same species. Some animals, however, prefer to live out their lives in solitude, tolerating perhaps only one animal of the opposite gender from the species. These three types of social structures are represented by their corresponding icons. Finally, we have the animal's compatibility. The list will indicate what other species of animals are compatible with the selected animal. Animals on the list can peacefully coexist. If they are not on the list, however, expect to see unhappy or angry animals. A word of advice: do not mix carnivores and herbivores together. You can imagine what will happen if you do. Left-click on the Next button to continue. If you ever want to make sure that your animal is happy as can be, simply follow this checklist. It details everything that your kangaroo enjoys and prefers. It is safe to assume that if an item is not on the list of preferences, your animal will not like the item very much. Here's a tip. Instead of constantly switching between menus when viewing the animal's preferences and placing animal enrichment items, you can left-click on the Animal Preferences Tear Away button. It will keep the animal's preference list on screen. No more juggling between panels. You could also find Tear Away buttons for the Zoo Consultant and Goals menus, which you can keep permanently on screen and will also save you many a click. Go ahead and left-click on the Animal Preferences Tear Away button to continue. Your kangaroos like gum tree eucalyptus trees, so let's add a few to the kangaroo exhibit. Left-click on the Animal Enrichment menu button, then left-click on the gum tree eucalyptus and add 2 of these trees in the kangaroo exhibit. But keep an eye on your kangaroo. If you want to save a few more clicks, you can left-click directly on the gum tree eucalyptus name found on the tearaway. This will automatically pull up the item on screen. You can do the same for every item featured on the preferences list. Did you notice the floating happy faces? That means your kangaroo likes the new additions you have made to the exhibit. Now, add 2 more gum tree eucalyptus trees. And again, keep an eye on your kangaroo. This time, there were no happy faces when you added the last tree. This means placing more trees will not make the animal any happier, nor will it raise the kangaroo's comfort rating. It's time to move on with the checklist. The next item is Exhibit Rocks. Kangaroos enjoy scrublands dry rock formations. So go ahead and add 2 scrublands dry rock formations by left-clicking on the Rocks button and finally on the Scrublands Dry Rock thumbnail. You may have to scroll down to find it. Good. Now, left-click on the Delete button and double left-click to delete 1 rock. But keep an eye on your kangaroo. You will see an unhappy face floating. This means your animal does not approve of your latest effort at exhibit decoration. Let's undo the last action by left-clicking on the Undo button. Then go ahead and add as many rocks as your animal wants. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Your animals need some sort of shelter in order to sleep comfortably when they are tired. You can find all types of shelters by left-clicking on the Shelter button in the Animal Enrichment menu. Go ahead and add the kangaroo's preferred shelter. That's basically it. As long as you fulfill your dear kangaroo's preferences, it will be one happy animal indeed. Just follow the Animal's Preferences checklist, look for any happy or unhappy faces, and you and your kangaroo will be fine. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Before we move on, there's an easy way to adjust and delete any item, animal, or staff in your zoo. By pressing Shift while you left-click, you can delete items. If you press Delete when the Staff, Animal, or Item Details menus are on screen, you can also delete the corresponding highlighted item. If you press Control while you left-click, you can move items. Go ahead and add a few more items, then adjust them, and finally, delete a few so you get the feel for these controls. And when you are ready, left-click on the Next button to continue. Your animals are resilient and will survive even in poorly designed exhibits, but there is one thing they cannot dispense with: water. Your poor kangaroos do not have any drinking water in their exhibit. Left-click on the Terrain Editor button, then dig a hole in the exhibit in order to create a body of water by Shift left-clicking on the terrain. You can also click the middle mouse button or the mouse wheel if your mouse has these buttons. But make sure you keep on digging until you see water appear. You will also see the happy faces appear above your kangaroo's head. Continue digging a hole to accommodate a body of water that is roughly 10% of the total exhibit size. Hint: the ideal place to add water has been marked with mud. When you are done adding water, left-click on the Next button to continue. Sometimes you will notice thought balloons floating above the heads of your animals. These thought balloons give you information on the animal's needs and thoughts. Some animals may be hungry, while others may be in need of veterinary assistance. Thought balloons that appear in white are merely indicators of their needs and general mood. If the thought balloon turns yellow, it normally indicates a problem that has persisted for some time, yet has not been resolved. Thought balloons in red are serious problems that need your urgent attention. Otherwise, your poor animal may behave erratically or worse, die. As a zoo entrepreneur, it is your duty to make sure that all animals live peacefully, happily, and comfortably. So it behooves you to resolve their needs. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Another easy way to see whether you have a suitable exhibit that allows your animals to enjoy life to the fullest is through your Zoo Consultant. Left-click on the Animal menu button, select a kangaroo as you've done before, then on the Zoo Consultant's Advice button. Your friendly Zoo Consultant will give you additional information you may not find in the Animal Preferences checklist. Go ahead, give it a try. Good. The Zoo Consultant is another way to gauge the needs and preferences of your animals. And although his advice may not be as exact as the Animal Preferences checklist, he is often more insightful with his comments. Another way to find out more about your animals and their state of well-being is to double left-click on your animal's thought balloons. Your friendly Zoo Consultant will also be there to give you advice. Simply mousing over a thought balloon will also provide a help tip. The Zoo Consultant panel also features a tearaway that you can use to gain quick access to important hints and suggestions. So when you are ready, left-click on the Tearaway button to continue. Let's recap what we've covered in this tutorial. Your animals need to be attended to in order for them to lead a happy and comfortable life, which in turn will please your visitors. Visitors do not like to see unhappy animals. Remember to use the Animal Details toggle button to view their information, attributes, and, more importantly, their preferences, and check up on them often. If you follow an animal's preferences when improving their exhibit suitability, you will definitely make them feel much more at home in your zoo. Don't forget to add water to the exhibit. Animals can live in hostile conditions, but they cannot dispense with water. Your zoo consultant can give you further insight on the needs of your animals, so remember to check back with him often. Your animal's thought balloons are good indicators of their needs. Do not let red thought balloons go unattended. Well, I guess this is all there is to knowing how to make your animals live happily and comfortably as can be. I'll leave the rest to you now. Remember to check your goals, and good luck.
By the numbers.
St. Martin's Zoo apparently has not been blessed by its patron saint. The zoo lacks pizzazz to lure in visitors and keep them there. As the appointed zoo director, you must hire managers to research new visitor attractions and provide at least one researched education program in an effort to improve the zoo's overall rating. In this tutorial, we will see how to make visitors happy. Visitors are in your zoo to get the best experience you can offer them, and that is what we will focus on. Your zoo will quickly lose money if you do not attract visitors willing to spend money there. And the best way to ensure that the visitors are indeed having a good time is to tend to their needs. Let's first see how to create paths for visitors to walk on. Visitor paths are important because your visitors will follow these paths to reach places they want to visit, be it a snack stand, an exhibit, or the restroom. Without these paths, visitors will meander aimlessly in your zoo, not knowing where to go. Left-click on the Visitor Attraction menu button to continue. These two exhibits do not have paths leading up to them, so your visitors can admire the animals within. To add a path, left-click on the highlighted thumbnail, then left-click and drag the mouse on the terrain. When you release the button, a path will be filled in where the green outlines were. If you see a red outline, it means the terrain is too steep or irregular to place a visitor path. You will need to either go around the terrain or use the terrain editor to smooth out or level the terrain before laying down the visitor path. To continue, fill in the outlined blue area with paths leading up the terrain so that the visitors may walk up and view these two exhibits. Good! If you want to change the type of visitor path, simply left-click on another visitor path thumbnail and left-click and drag over the existing visitor path. When you release the mouse button, the old visitor path will be replaced by the new one. When you are ready, left-click on the next button to continue. If you want to remove an existing visitor path, left-click on the Remove Path thumbnail and left-click and drag over an existing visitor path in the same way you would if you were laying out a path. When you are ready, left-click on the next button to continue. Of course, visitors will not enter your zoo if you do not open it for business. Left-click on the Open Zoo button to start business. You will see a window confirming the opening of your zoo. If you want to close the zoo, simply left-click on the same button again. It will change to become the Close Zoo button. Of course, doing so will cause you to lose all your current visitors. Go ahead and welcome your visitors in. Soon a bus will arrive at your zoo, and you should see visitors getting off the bus and entering your zoo. Your visitors, like your animals, have their own requirements and needs if they are to enjoy their zoo experience to the fullest. And it's up to you to meet their demands. You can check the needs of your visitors by left-clicking on the Visitor menu button. There you will see a list of all your current visitors. Do so now. You should see a list of your current visitors, their names, and 3 bars to the right of their names. These bars represent their visitor satisfaction level, their complaints level, and the time spent in zoo. To view details on any visitor, simply left-click on a visitor name. Try it now. Good. Now you should see a preview of the visitor, as well as some relevant information. As with the animal menu, you can toggle through 3 sets of visitor information: their attributes, their activity log, and their complaints. Go ahead and cycle through the Visitor Details toggle button until you see the visitor's complaints. Some complaints are easier to handle than others. Just remember, no matter how good your zoo is, you cannot please everybody. Handling the complaints is simple enough. If visitors are complaining about the lack of restrooms, then add some more restrooms. If they are complaining about the lack of seats, simply add more seats. To go back and check the complaints or activities of other visitors, left-click on the Visitor List button. Do so now. Another way to check the overall state of your visitors is to pay attention to the thought balloons floating over a visitor's head. As with animal thought balloons, yellow balloons are more serious than white balloons, and red balloons require your attention immediately, unless you want to lose income from an irate visitor. You can also directly double left-click on a visitor thought balloon, and if your zoo consultant has any advice, he'll be glad to share his thoughts with you. Let's move on. Left-click on the Visitor Attraction menu button. On the right of the interface, you can see 5 buttons. The first one is the Visitor Path button. Below are the Flora button, the Fencing button, the Small Items button, and the Large Structures button. Go ahead and go through these buttons and familiarize yourself with the different decoration, objects, and facilities available for your visitors. When you are ready to move on, left-click on the Next button to continue. Let's have a look at some of the most popular visitor attractions you can place in your zoo, apart from the animals, that is. The SkyTrain, Riverboat, and the Animal Theater. Let's go in order and add a SkyTrain station by first left-clicking on the Large Structures button, then left-clicking on the SkyTrain station thumbnail. Then left-click on a suitable piece of terrain to place the structure. Again, for the purposes of this tutorial, you can only add it within the area marked with blue. When the station is in your zoo, double left-click directly on it. You need to lay out tracks in order for the SkyTrain station to operate. Left-click on the Add Train Pillar button and place the pillar somewhere in your zoo. If the pillar can be placed, the base of the pillar will appear in green. If the pillar cannot be placed in a location, the entire pillar will appear in red. When placing the pillar, not only does the base need to appear in green, you will also notice a line extending from the SkyTrain station to the pillar. Make sure this line appears in green as well. If the line is in red, you cannot place the pillar, and the SkyTrain tracks cannot be laid until all the lines on your path are in green. Go ahead and place some pillars, and try to get a working train track. But don't worry if you can't get it right on the first try. Then, when you are ready to continue, left-click on the Next button. Now let me explain some of the other buttons on the SkyTrain station menu. The button on the right of the Add Pillar button allows you to remove a pillar. Next to that button is the Insert Pillar button, where you can insert pillars between other pillars. Next to the Insert Pillar button is the Adjust Pillar button, where you can move the existing pillars around to either change the track layout or to move them into a valid track position. Finally, there is the Remove All Pillars button, which will remove all tracks and pillars and allow you to start from scratch. The rectangular button is the SkyTrain Details button, and it allows you to set up the ride and train for your visitors. When you have a valid track laid out, left-click on this button to continue. Very good! Let's now look at what attributes you can set for your spanking new train ride. To enable the ride, you will need to left-click on the Open SkyTrain Station button. You can also change the train's direction by left-clicking on the normal and reverse train direction buttons. If you want to increase or decrease the number of passenger wagons the ride offers, left-click on the Add Remove a Passenger Wagon button. Finally, you can change the cost of the ride by left-clicking and dragging the fee slider. If you're not sure what each icon represents, simply mouse over the icon and a help message will appear. To continue, reverse the train direction, decrease the train size to small, and adjust the fee to $13.50. Don't forget to open the ride for your visitors. Very good. Now let's have a look at how to add a riverboat station to your zoo. Your first task is to find the riverboat station from the list of large structures within the Visitor Attractions menu. Then, left-click on a valid location within your zoo to place the item. Again, for the purposes of this tutorial, you can only add it within the area marked with blue. Finally, double left-click directly on the riverboat station to continue. Hint: we've marked an ideal path in mud for your riverboat ride. There are 7 buttons on the bottom of the menu. They are, starting from the top row, Add Bridge, Remove Bridge, and Remove All Bridges. On the bottom row, we have Add River Segment, Remove River Segment, Remove All River Segments, and Riverboat Station Details. Left-click on the Add Segment button to start laying out your river path. You can also left-click and drag to lay out more than one river segment at a time. The river path must reach the back end of the riverboat station in order for it to be operational. Again, for the purposes of this tutorial, you can only place river segments within the blue outline. When you have finished laying out the river path, left-click on the Riverboat Station Details button to continue. Good. Here, as with the SkyTrain station, you can change different characteristics of your ride. The main difference is that both small and large boats can go around the river at the same time. Set the direction to reverse. Allow 5 small boats and 5 large boats for your riverboat station, and increase the fee to $8.50 to continue. Oh, and don't forget to open the riverboat station for service. Well done! There is one more facility that you can add to your zoo to maximize your visitors' zoo-faring experience. And that is to add an animal theater, where specially trained animals perform acts to amuse your visitors. Left-click on the Visitor Attraction menu button, then on the Large Structures button, then on the Animal Theater thumbnail, and place it somewhere in your zoo. Now, you need to assign animals to training so they can perform for your demanding visitors. Let's do this now. First, find the black bear in your zoo and double left-click on it. You will see the Animal Details menu. Left-click on the Train Animal button to continue. You should see a list of animal theaters you can assign your black bear to perform in. Left-click on the bar with the theater name on it. Then, left-click on the OK button. Then, double left-click on the animal theater itself. You will see the Animal Theater Details button. Left-click on this button. When you see the Animal Shows menu, left-click on the Black Bears bar on the top of the list of available animals to check its training progress. In time, your bear will be ready to perform in front of your visitors. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Excellent! Now let's take a final look at the Information Center by left-clicking on the Information Center button. Let's see what else you can do in the Information Center apart from checking your goals and conducting research. Under the Management button, you can set your zoo's policies, train staff, advertise your zoo and your animals, and take out loans. Under the Lists button, you can view lists of your star animals, your animals' rankings, and visitor and animal thought balloons. Under the Reports button, you can view your zoo's ratings, sales reports, income reports, plot financial graphs, and gauge visitor complaints. Go through the Information Center menu to get an idea of everything it has to offer. When you are ready to move on, left-click on the Career Mode button to continue. Once you are done with this tutorial, you will be set loose in your pursuit of becoming the best zookeeper ever, and your career will be tracked by the Career Mode menu, which gives information on your career skills and career status via the Career Mode toggle button. To the top right of the Career menu, which has been disabled for this tutorial, you can also see how much cash you have accumulated through your advancements in the scenarios. The animals you have in your animal profiles can be carried over to other scenarios. The award list keeps track of all the awards you have accumulated. Here you can also review your scenario description and goals. To view your career skills and career status, simply left-click on the Career menu toggle button. Do so now and familiarize yourself with this information. When you are ready, left-click on the Next button to continue. Remember that your aim is to become the best zookeeper ever. As such, the better you perform in each scenario, the better your chances are of obtaining cash bonuses from philanthropists and animal organizations worldwide, which can be used to finance your zoo. For exceptional performance, you may even be rewarded with new, extremely rare and/or endangered animals that cannot be obtained anywhere else. These animals can, just like any other animal, be transferred to your animal profiles to be used in new zoos and scenarios. For outstanding performance, you will also receive awards, which you can view in the award list. Once you have finished all the scenarios, an overall grade will be given to assess your performance. The better you do, the more cash you will have to upgrade your zoo, the more animals you will have to include in your animal profiles to impress and wow your visitors, and the more awards you will receive, all of which add to your final grade and score. So get out there and give it your best shot. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Fantastic! You have mastered all the essential skills and are ready to tackle even the most challenging tasks that lie before you and your zoo career. Before I leave you to it, let's review the points we've covered in this tutorial. Having a good mix of animals, facilities, and attractions will help you provide the experience your visitors are looking for. The most rewarding and expensive attractions are the SkyTrain, Riverboat, and Animal Theater. With these items in your zoo, chances are you've got a hit on your hands. Remember to add visitor paths so your visitors know where to go and do not wander aimlessly in your zoo. You can open and close your zoo anytime, but you will lose all your existing visitors if you close your zoo. Remember to add as many visitor facilities and attractions as your budget allows. Even if you cannot please everyone, you should still address the more serious complaints from your visitors. Good luck with your career. Congratulations for making it so far. From here on, you decide your own career path. Let's take a look at some concepts that will help you in your quest to become a great zookeeper.
Animal profiles.
There are three main categories of animals. Common animals that can be adopted at any time, animals that can only be obtained through research, and rare or endangered species, which will only be donated as rewards for exceptional performance in a scenario. Your animals can be saved and carried forward from one scenario to another scenario. You can send any animal to your animal profile list at any time. After you pass a scenario, you will also have the opportunity to send your animals to your animal profiles list. When you start a new scenario, you can add animals from your list of animal profiles. Your visitors like to see rare and endangered animals, so when you are donated one, it is a good idea to keep the animal in your profile so you have more exotic animals for your visitors to appreciate. Also, the more rare animals you have in a zoo, the higher your overall zoo rating will be. Having lots of rare animals will also boost your visitor attendance, and they will have a better zoo-going experience. Animals with exceptionally high animal popularity ratings are considered star animals. Placing star animals in animal theaters to perform in shows is definitely a good way to boost your visitors' satisfaction rating.
Awards, cash, and donated animals.
You can win awards in virtually every scenario. Awards can be obtained by going above and beyond the call of duty when you achieve considerably more than what the scenario goals ask of you. The rewards will come in the form of either cash or rare animals. These awards are only offered in their respective scenario, so if you want to obtain all the rare animals and cash, aim high and complete all the goals in each scenario. Receiving awards is also a very important way to build your reputation. To successfully develop your own career and become the best zookeeper, you should get as many awards as possible by passing as many scenarios as possible.
Animal versus economic specialization.
The path leading to the left will present you with animal-centric scenarios. That is, your main goals will revolve around your zoo animals, their happiness and comfort. The path leading to the right will present you with economy-centric scenarios. That is, your main goals will revolve around generating revenue and profits for the zoos.
Your final grade.
Once you finish all the scenarios, you will be given a final grade based on your performance, your reputation as a zookeeper, and all your assets, such as awards, cash, and animal profiles. Pass both animal-centric and economy-centric scenarios, complete both main and side objectives, and you may just become the best zookeeper ever.